Farmers today are facing rising costs, volatile markets, and extreme weather. The A Better Way to Farm podcast digs into strategies to help you take control of farm inputs and maximize profit so your farm can thrive for generations. Remember to take advantage of our free resources at abetterwaytofarm.com. Now, from America's Heartland, here's your host.
Hey guys, Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we increase yields and improve profits. I see an awful lot of stuff being advertised. You know, I read a lot of magazines. I try to find things and bring things of value and work. And some of the stuff that I'm seeing out here is very interesting to me. Let me just try and sort through some of this for you. I ain't pushing anybody's surfactants, mine or anybody else's, but I'd like you to have your eyes wide open. So let's talk about surfactants and what the different things are they can do and what you might want to use them for. Number one, we're looking for a pre-emerge surfactant. What's the function of that pre-emerge surfactant? Well, ideally, we would like it to be something that doesn't create foam. Now, in the event that you have a foam problem, we have a product specifically designed to knock foam out, just to take it out. But a good pre-emerge surfactant, and the way you can tell a good one from an average one, the average ones tend to be modified dish soaps. In other words, if I put Dawn dish detergent in my sprayer, does it work? Yeah, it makes the water wetter, it makes it penetrate better, it makes it give a better coverage, but it foams a tremendous amount. And that tends to drop your potassium down lower in your soil profile. That's not what we're after. That is not what we want to do at all. And so we want to take care of that. So we're looking for a pre-emerge surfactant. Hopefully, it will decrease foam. And what it better do is disperse everything better. We'd like it to make it stick to the soil colloid so that we don't get volatilization of the chemicals. We'd like the tips not to plug. We'd like everything to stay in suspension. We'd like the atrazine to not build up in the lines. We'd like the tank to clean out really easy when we're done. And if you've got one that does that, you're barking up the right tree. Now, we're done with our pre-emerge. We've moved over into post. Can we use our pre-emerge surfactant as a post? Yeah. Do we have something that's way better? Yes. And a good post-emerge surfactant should be a non-ionic surfactant. And I'm looking for one myself that's 100% active ingredient. 100% active ingredient because I want to get as much surfactant value as I can because I definitely want to kill those weeds. We want zero escapes, right? So we want to make sure that we not only get it on the weed, but when it gets on the leaf, it spreads out, it runs to the edge, and instead of dripping off, it goes around and covers the bottom because we get a lot of absorption on the weeds from we can get that on the bottom of the leaf. And so that's what we're going to do. Now let's talk about some of the other things. And maybe one of my pet peeves is the fact I get people talking about AMS, ammonium sulfate. And they talk about it being a burner. They talk about it being a sticker. They talk about it conditioning the water. They talk about it, I think it's supposed to cure cancer and maybe cause and fix ulcers. And basically it'll just do anything you need it to do. Wrong, not true. Not true at all. AMS is a water conditioner. That's its number one function. Because what we need that AMS to do is to sequester the minerals that are in there so the minerals don't tie up the active ingredient in the chemicals. That's its number one job. Now, if you put enough of it on, does it give you some burn? Probably. That would be the deal. I'm not sure that's what I'm after because if I'm getting burn on the weeds, I'm probably getting some burn on the leaf of my crop, my corn, my beans, or cotton, whatever it is. And I really don't want to do that. I'd very much like to not to create any burn there. And so we're going to use AMS as the label calls for it. And specifically when we're spraying glyphosate, we want to test the water. When we run that water test, we can put it through a calculator that we have, and it'll tell you exactly how many pounds or how many gallons or quarts of AMS you need in order to properly sequester the minerals. The next thing we want to do is we know when we're spraying chemicals, we need to adjust that pH. Now we know the sulfonylureas tend to want to be sprayed off somewhere around a water pH of about 7.0. But most of the other chemicals, and especially when we get into fungicides and insecticides, we really want to be paying attention because most of those need to be sprayed at either 6 or 6.5. What's the problem with that? Most of us are pulling water out. We see water all the time, and it doesn't make any difference. It's well water or city water. That pH of that stuff is 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9. We've seen pHs of water up to 10. And so now what we're looking for is a pH adjuster. And we get the guys that go, well, man, I'm going to use citric acid because it's cheap, right? Cheap's the word that gets us in trouble. Citric acid drops the pH, and then it starts to come right back up on you. And what's the problem with that? High pH kills the active ingredient, especially in fungicides and insecticides. The longer that fungicide or insecticide is in that water with a high pH, the more of it is dying off. Some of your insecticides and fungicides can have a half-life of 15 minutes. In other words, if they're in a water that's a pH of 8.5, it takes 15 minutes to kill half the active ingredient. That's not what we want to do. So what do? We get the water in there, we check it with a digital pH meter, we drop it down to get it to where we want it, that 6.5. Then we add the chemicals and any other surfactants that we might use. We've got people that say, well, this chemical calls for a methylated soy oil. That's going to be a burner. When we do that, we're going to create burn, but some of the chemicals, that's what we've got to do. And again, we don't want any escapes. And so sometimes we're picking our poison. We say we're willing to suffer some burn on our crop in order to kill the weeds because we've got a real problem here and we want to make sure we're getting that done correctly. And so I would encourage you to, use that methylated soy oil as directed. I wouldn't get carried away with it. One of the things that we look at is some of the guys are worried about drift, and we should be this day and age. Seems like everybody's pretty sue happy, and be honest, we want to be good stewards. We don't want to get stuff over onto our neighbors. I understand we shouldn't be spraying if there's very much wind. I also understand that I was just talking to one of my buddies down in Arkansas, and he's like, is your wind blowing 100 miles an hour? And I was like, no. I look at my wind speed, it's a 0 today. It's the first time that I've been able to say that for a long, long time. The wind just keeps continuing to blow more and more and more, or so it seems. So what do we want to do? Well, we know, for instance, that I think glyphosate is supposed to be sprayed off at a droplet size of 400 microns. The average sprayer is putting one out that's, 80 or 90. And so we got to make that droplet size bigger. And so what do we want to do? Like a good drift agent should be able to put in 1 to 2 ounces in every 100 gallon of solution. And when you do that, you can raise that droplet size up so that it will fall straight down. It's a deposition aid is what it is. And it deposits it straight down. And then you still need your other surfactant in there because once that bigger droplet hits the leaf, I don't want it to run to the edge and drop off. I want it to hit that leaf. I want it to spread out. And that's where the other surfactants, the pre and the post-emerge surfactants come in. Guys, if this makes sense, if this resonates with you, reach out. You can text Karen at 641-919-5570, and someone will talk to you about how to help you get the right surfactants in the right situation. But I just kind of wanted to clear this up because I'm seeing an awful lot of claims being made. I see guys the other day, I saw one, and it was a pre-emerge surfactant, it was a post-emerge surfactant, it had a drift retardant in it, and it was going to adjust the pH. Well, how do we know how much we need to adjust the pH? And if I'm getting enough to adjust the pH, am I getting too much of the surfactant? If I'm getting enough surfactant, do I have enough to adjust the pH where I need it to be? That's why we're not into one size fits all. We're in for doing exactly what we need. Maybe I'm spraying on a day I don't need any kind of a drift retardant, so I don't want to put that in there. Why do I want to waste that money? Guys, it's all about doing the right thing, doing it judiciously, spending money when we need to, but not where we don't. And we look forward to talking to you. Reach out, send her a text. Someone will talk to you. And as always, guys, we hope you're having a better day.